What is in fact playing out in Doha, Qatar. We are joined in by WION's Anas Malik, who is presently in Doha, and we are also joined in by Siddhant Sibil as well. But Anas, let me begin with you. Give us a sense of what is unfolding there. This is, of course, a very important deal that has been negotiated for several months now, on and off. What is to be expected today?
Absolutely, Saleh. 19 years of war in Afghanistan, 19 years of ordeal for the people of Afghanistan who have continuously suffered, and after 16 months and 17 days of intensive negotiations, we're finally seeing an agreement coming to an end with regards to the Afghan peace deal, which is to be signed today, anytime today, between 3:30 to 4. That is what is being said in here in Doha. Now, if I just take you through the program, how it will around between 3:30 to 3:45, there would be first the speech of the Qatari foreign minister, following which the agreement would be signed, and after that we will see first the speech of the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and then the speech by a Taliban representative. Now, there are speculations that representative could indeed be Mullah Abdul Ghani brother, but the Taliban are yet to come out clearly and say that who would it be speaking on their behalf.
Right.
Additionally, there is live translation that has been set up, and those who will be there inside that hall, those journalists or people, those attendees, they would be made to listen to, they would be having that opportunity or option to listen to live translation. If you talk about the guest list, we have the Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi representing Pakistan. A while ago, he met US Special Envoy for Afghan Peace, Zalmay Khalilzad, as well. Then we have the Uzbek Foreign Minister, the Tajik Foreign Minister, the Kazakh Foreign Minister, the Indonesian Foreign Minister. We're yet to see the Turkish Foreign Minister, but officials say that we're expecting Turkish Foreign Minister to come in as well. Then we have Zamir Kabulov, the special rep of Russia on this. Now, if you talk about this prospects of peace, this is very, very important, given the fact that how war-torn Afghanistan has been. With this deal kicking in, the Taliban would be holding an intra-Afghan negotiations in all likelihood in 10 to 12 days.
Absolutely,
and
indeed.
The impacts of this deal to the region
Anas, this of course remains to be seen as to how all of this will play out. But let me bring in Siddhant Sibil as well, who's joining us in this. Now, Siddhant, India is taking part in this ceremony of signing this peace deal as an observer. Give us a sense of how India is looking at these developments that are taking place.
Well, India is cautiously watching the developments. We know that the Indian Foreign Secretary is in Kabul. He yesterday met the top brass, the President, the Chief Executive, the Vice President, the Acting Foreign Minister. Today he met the Finance Minister of Afghanistan, and the deal was signed, and 2 agreements were signed worth millions of dollars to develop infrastructure in Afghanistan. India, we know, has been playing an important role in Afghanistan, its capacity building and infrastructure development. But what next? We know that India has no relationship or ties with Taliban, given the fact that it hasn't been good for India when it comes to Taliban being in Kabul. And Taliban basically are considered proxies of Pakistan. For last 19 years during the war, they had bases, houses. In fact, they had bank accounts as well in Pakistani banks. And the fact that Taliban might be coming in Kabul is something that is being watched by New Delhi carefully. We know that India has been invited by Qatar. An Indian envoy to Doha will be present in the room as a witness to this historic signing of the agreement. Will it translate into peace? Is something that is on the top of the mind for everyone. We know that the Americans are eager to leave Afghanistan, but they will not leave their bases. There will be American bases in Afghanistan.
Absolutely.
So American presence remains, of course, not in that huge significant level, but it is the fear of Pakistani influence in Kabul that is something that New Delhi would not like to have.
Absolutely, indeed, Siddhant. That's an important point that you've raised. And Anas, if I can bring you in on this, although the Americans are selling this as a peace deal, they're talking about, getting American troops back. What we're given to understand is that not all American troops are expected to leave Afghanistan as a part of this deal. The present American involvement is about 12,000 troops there. That will be reduced to about 8,600. With that being said, is this a peace deal which Donald Trump wants to see through as a preparation for his own election later this year in his own nation?
Well, just to clarify, the peace deal would mean that a complete withdrawal is there, though the Americans would leave their quote-unquote in minimal intelligence foothold. So there wouldn't be bases.
No, but at this point of time, have the Americans confirmed that? Because the Americans have not said as to what will be the number of soldiers who will continue to remain in Afghanistan.
That is exactly what I'm trying to clarify, that the Taliban and US officials both over here in Doha, they have confirmed that there would be a complete withdrawal with minimal presence of an intelligence foothold in Afghanistan. So that means that 13,600 troops are currently present. By the end of this year or next year, that is what the deal would have to is about. There would be a complete withdrawal. There would be zero troop presence, but the Americans would be having their quote-unquote intelligence foothold in order to prevent any future attacks, and that is what is very, very important. Currently, there are about 13,600 soldiers of US present there. They would be reducing the strength by about 5,000 by this summer, and that is what you understand. And by next year or this year's end, there would be a complete withdrawal. That is what is being agreed upon in this deal. Just to clarify over there, this would definitely be laying a foundation to the election campaign for US President Donald Trump, because this had been one of those very pressing points during his election campaign previously, and he would want himself to be credited with this. And that is the reason we're seeing that despite that harsh language being used on the 7th of September by US President Donald Trump and calling off the negotiations, they were restored, the talks were restored 2 months later on, and then 5 months down the line we're seeing the agreement being agreed upon and to be signed today.
All right, interesting. And Siddhant, if I can bring you in on this, the fact of the matter is Donald Trump is not the first American president to try to take American troops out of Afghanistan. Barack Obama had also promised something similar to this, but he was not able to pull out American troops there. The American presence still remains. So as we look at this peace deal that is to be signed, will the Americans actually move out of Afghanistan?
Well, the details of the deal is not known to anyone as of now. It's mere in the realm of speculation. But will American leave the Afghanistan entirely militarily is something which the American administration can answer. But as of now, it looks like the American president, as part of his election year rhetoric, would like the American troops back home, because body bags is something that can dent his credibility in terms of election year and in terms of standing for the next president. But of course, Americans are eager to leave because of the fact that it's been 19 years of war, and it was discussed with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also during the visit of the US President Donald Trump. The drawdown of troops was discussed, and the American president did said that the troops will be reduced to at least 8,000 in coming few months, and said that the Indians are supportive of the entire deal. And yes, India said that it appreciates what America has done and understands the American viewpoint that it's been 19 years. They are eager to leave Afghanistan. But what will be the situation on the ground security apparatus? Because the Pakistanis as of now are celebrating because they see a repetition of 90s with Taliban coming back and Pakistan having huge strategic influence in Afghanistan that Pakistan would like to use to harbor terrorists in Afghanistan that can cause problems in India. So India has clearly stated to Washington that they would not like a repetition of 90s.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed to both Anas Malik and also to Siddhant Sibil for joining us and getting us all those insights. It remains to be seen as to what the final form and structure of this peace deal is likely to be, the specifics of it.